guys, Dr. Epic here, back with another Ops survival pack for you. Today, by popular demand, I've finally gotten around to addressing the question, Mass Effect 3's multiplayer mode, is it good? And is it still alive?
Mission scrubbed. Returning to base.
By investigating this, I hope to extract some knowledge of value for us and for the developers of the next Mass Effect game, provided it too will have a multiplayer component. First, thank you for clicking. Now, enough warm-up. Let's have a charge right into this.
I never thought I'd say this, but enough foreplay.
First definition question. What makes a game or a game mode good? Well, games are entertainment. They have to be entertaining. I'll focus on two elements of what makes something entertaining. It has to not only have fun gameplay when you play the game, but in my opinion it also has to make you want to keep playing the game after you put down the controller. I sometimes refer to this last phenomenon as the game being captivating or fun in the long run. Both of these elements are subjective, and ultimately this is my subjective personal opinion, but I will try and identify objective elements to make the video more interesting and helpful to the debate. Next question. What is Mass Effect 3 multiplayer? Fun fact, did you know that according to the Mass Effect Wikipedia, Mass Effect 3 multiplayer started out as an FPS? Someone, please mod this into reality and make it happen. Or at least mod some sort of FPS version of any Mass Effect game, and I'll be the first one to try that out fast.
This is Shepard. Civilians have been evac. Special forces can take it from here.
We're dropping you into a hot zone. Get down there and engage the enemy.
Now, to illustrate and to put it simply, Mass Effect 3 multiplayer is a team-based horde mode. You and up to 3 other players fight against up to 12 waves of varying enemies with a few ad hoc mini-challenges randomly thrown into the experience to spice up your game. The gameplay premise is simple. However, Mass Effect 3 multiplayer finds depth by adding a selection of deeper systems to keep you playing, improving and experimenting in the game. These deeper systems facilitate a larger grind system and a varied gameplay experience to encourage players to come back and log on. I will now visit some of the most impactful systems. These grind mechanics make the game captivating in the long run, since it gives the player incentive to return. First off are the many actually different characters you can play as, from Bolus to Geth. When I played Mass Effect 3 multiplayer for the first time in 2012, 11 years ago, on first playthrough, it blew my mind we could play as something other than a human. I mentally imploded from hype when I unlocked my first Krogan and started slapping every enemy I could find. And the characters only got crazier with more and more free DLC, like eventually we got the Batarians and even the Collectors. That one is such a mind-blowing experience that it's equivalent to like unlocking a playable rocket launcher flood in Halo 3. They even added a completely new enemy faction for you to play against, bringing back the beloved Collectors of Mass Effect 2. Not only did the many characters offer very different ways to play the game, with this having the effect of encouraging players to grind to unlocking them all. But you can level all your different characters to new levels, up to maximum level, and doing so you will unlock new and unique skills and abilities for each of your characters. Your characters can also be visually customized with unlockable, grindable cosmetics. And another major grind element is promoting your characters when they reach max level. This reverts you back to step 0 for you to start again. OG Call of Duty players know that this can be addicting as a barrel of monkeys. Variety is spicy in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, not only with the crazy different unlockable weapons, unique characters, different maps, again, free map packs in 2012. This shows what a Mass Effect multiplayer can achieve if the developers simply stick to their product and don't give up after launch. Looking at you, Mass Effect Andromeda.
It's not over, you know. There'll be more Ket and whatever else is waiting out there.
I know, right? It's going to be so much fun.
Crazy kid. Crazy kid.
Variety is the spice of life. It keeps things fresh. I believe that Mass Effect 3 multiplayer reached a level of content and variety in content that makes it feel as if there's always something fresh to do. It's a large toy box, is what I'm saying. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't address the stinky camel in the room. Namely,
The store.
The store and the microtransactions. Now, back in these days, 2012, the dark days, microtransactions were starting to become a little bit too much of a mainstay in AAA games, in my opinion, with EA leading the charge in many of their games to include them where they didn't fit. I personally think microtransactions have zero place in a full-price game, if you'll allow me to be a little absolutic. I fundamentally oppose microtransactions and they bring stink to any game that they're in. But I have to say, the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, they didn't do too much harm to my experience. You could unlock the loot boxes by grinding and earning in-game currency, and I never spent a single real-life coin on this mode, and still I unlocked all of these different characters and things, and I never felt like I was spending too much time grinding for any of the loot boxes. I always went for the most expensive box because it was the most bang for your buck.
Your mother can't.
Grinding the store never was a terribly inconvenient experience for me when playing Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, so I won't deduct too much moral points here or say that it hampered the fun of the game or the captivating power of the mode. Differing opinions here are more than welcome, and I would love to hear how other people experience the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer store, especially in comparison to the Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer store, which the latter one I have very little experience with. One more thing I will add that made Mass Effect 3 multiplayer captivating for me was how it interacted with the single player. Now with this, you either liked it, disliked it, or really disliked it. Basically, grinding multiplayer and particularly promoting multiplayer characters increased their single player war assets. War assets was a score system basically that would determine what kind of ending you got in the single player campaign. At launch, you actually had to grind the multiplayer up to so-called 100% galactic readiness to get the best ending. This was mitigated with patches after outrage from fans. At launch I didn't mind this, but after thinking about it, I do get it. I get it. I get it now.
I get it.
Mass Effect is fundamentally a single-player choice-based game. Campaign first. Mass Effect 3 was the first game to have multiplayer at all. Understandably, people were pissed that in order to have your choices matter, you had to play a completely different loot box-oriented multiplayer mode for several matches each playthrough. And if you hated the mode, this would make it a very frustrating, forced design choice for you. But if you're like me, who really liked this implementation, then it just made the mode even more fun and captivating. And here's why I liked it from two different perspectives, to make it clear. From the single player perspective, I liked this implementation because it allowed me to see how other soldiers were fighting the Reapers, etc. across the galaxy. It really reinforced the theme of Mass Effect 3's story, being total galactic war across the entire Milky Way, forcing everyone, be it humans, Batarians, Geth or Volus, to take up arms and fight. It really hammered home that the Normandy isn't the only one in this fight. It made the finale of the single player more epic, especially when you imagine your promoted characters running around somewhere alongside you off screen. And from my second multiplayer based perspective, it made the multiplayer mode more engaging story-wise because I felt it mattered in the core story of the game. Each multiplayer match has a bit of emotional weight and significance in a way, because you are technically helping Shepard and the other allies. Lastly, I'll say that the game mode is just simply fun. Mass Effect 3 had the best combat gameplay mechanics in my humble opinion. Yes, even better than Andromeda, and I can explain why I feel that way. Yes, Andromeda is more fluid and full of freedom and power, but Mass Effect 3 is more grounded, tactical and realistic for the most part. This makes the gameplay more immersive and stressful, something that I really like as a big fan of cover shooters like Gears of War. I'm not saying Andromeda's combat gameplay isn't fun, I have a whole video discussing why it actually is fun. I'm just saying that Mass Effect 3 gameplay is also fun, and this is of course a big bonus when talking about Mass Effect 3 multiplayer mode. So in conclusion, I think that Mass Effect 3 multiplayer is fun and captivating. Are there more objective observations to support this conclusion? Let's look at the status of the game mode at launch, status of the game mode sometime after launch, and status of the game mode today. At launch, I had no problem matching with different full squads every match, and I played a lot of matches. This was the case a long time after launch. The game was received well by several people, as Reddit and Wikipedia will testify. And like I said earlier though, some didn't like how intrusive it was, and there is an argument to be made that it was simply added as a way to monetize Mass Effect 3 further than just Day 1 DLC and other shameless shenanigans. The prevailing opinion appears to be though, that at launch the multiplayer mode was well received for what it was, even though you had to purchase an online pass at the time to access it. The mode was a phenomenon even outside the game itself, with apps for your cell phone like Datapad and websites like N7HQ for tracking and stats and such. But what about today? Does the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer game mode still breathe? Is it still populated? What's the future for Mass Effect 3 multiplayer? Well, I can say that without a doubt, it is still populated. I had very little trouble finding matches just searching alongside random players, many and most of the times getting a full squad without effort. That alone is a testament to the game being objectively captivating and entertaining for people. I had a blast revisiting Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, playing too many matches than required for this video, and I managed to get extracted many times, that is, completing all the 12 waves. I even tried to challenge the player matching system by searching for a game with absurdly specific criteria, expecting to search forever and never finding a match. But I pretty much instantly still found a match. That is crazy to me, even after 11 years. That smell you're smelling? That's quality game. There were of course some matches where I was sweating a little longer, but a lot of the times I had no trouble finding a match on the Xbox 360. I can only imagine the community being even stronger on PC. As many of you know, the entire Mass Effect trilogy got a makeover with the remastered edition, the so-called Mass Effect Legendary Edition, or ME Leg Edition for short. No doubt made to hype up the coming game, which is likely also set in the Milky Way. But you know what didn't get a remaster? That's right, the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer mode. This was received with sadness by many players, but also with understanding. BioWare said that they really wanted and really tried to remaster the mode and include it in the Leg Edition, but ultimately, due to challenges of old code and such, it proved impossible and the project was ultimately scrapped. Unintended positive side effects of this decision is that at least you don't split the remaining Mass Effect 3 multiplayer enjoyer crowd between Regular Edition, ME Trilogy, and Leg Edition Trilogy. However, the support and wish for a remastered Mass Effect 3 multiplayer mode is still alive. There is still a signature project going on here, which I will link below for those who want to see a remaster of this mode and want to take some action. Think about the potential here, guys. We could finally see a high fidelity, high quality, high texture, flawless Death God in action if this were to happen. It's never too late, guys, so vote with your clicks. All these observations and proven community passion and engagement with the mode lends further credence to the conclusion that Mass Effect 3 multiplayer mode is not only fun and captivating, but indeed good. There you have it. I find Mass Effect 3 multiplayer to be good. And not only that, but it's still very much alive. I highly recommend plugging it in and playing a few games and playing some OG trilogy. I also really believe that it would be significantly beneficial and healing to the injured Mass Effect community to have a healthy, remastered version of the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer mode in the Leg Edition to regroup in and continue nurturing and solidifying their engagement and love for the franchise. Mass Effect Leg Edition is good, but it can be better. Do you agree with my conclusion? No, man! Do you plan on checking out Mass Effect 3 multiplayer again? Do you think my ex-wife will ever give me back my dog? If you want to share your sentiments on these questions, please just fax me the questions and I will get back to you. As for now, this is Dr. Epic and I'll be signing off.